Sup?
Yo.
Welcome to I'm Not Racist, My Friend's Black. This is my auntie Lisa. Hi. Say hi, girl. I'm really excited to have her on because she is one of the smartest people I know with money. And every time I have a problem, I call her. I'll be calling her all the time, like, girl, I made a mistake, girl. So, yeah, this is my auntie. Hi. And do you want to just briefly tell us what you do so people know?
Well, I've been in banking and finance for 15 years. Prior to that, I was in real estate for about 10 years.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Yes, living your best life. And then also, if you guys saw our podcast from last week, HJ was here, and the baby that I pulled up on the picture is her grandbaby, and that's my cousin Soli, and just a little nugget. Okay, well, so I want to ask you some icebreaker questions so that people can get to know you better because, I don't know, it's fun.
Sure.
Okay, if you could buy a house in any neighborhood in the world, where would it be?
Oh, wow. Well, weather is a huge factor for me, and living in Southern California for the past 16 years, I've thought about buying a house here.
Yeah.
But we know you like the beach, though.
We know you like the beach. She lives at the beach,
the
y'all.
beach.
She lives on the beach, y'all.
Damn, I'm so jealous.
I love the beach, but buying a house on the beach in Southern California is not cheap. So, I mean, you know, I think that if I could buy a house anywhere, I would buy a house in Southern California.
Yeah?
I would.
For sure. Like
Yeah,
Malibu?
I mean, actually,
but is it a good investment, though?
So not sure on that. I think you can find good investments.
Yeah.
Hard to find on the beach, but I definitely think you can find them at the right opportune time, which may be soon, actually. But it's...
I like the sound of that.
Yeah, I mean, there's places that you can still get a decent, beautiful home, you know, and not like pay $5 to $10, $20 million.
Yeah.
You just might have to go a little south, Orange County, San Diego.
Oof, Orange County is far as hell.
Yeah, it's really interesting. We have a friend who was looking at houses, and he said that they would look at houses, they'd be on the market for a day, and they'd have 20 offers. So It seems like it's a weird time for real estate.
A lot of multiple offers, a lot of over asking price. There's a lot of buyers right now and not a lot of inventory. So, yeah, it's a buyer's market.
That people are buying during quarantine, don't you feel like?
I don't think anything makes people change when they, you know, when they're looking to buy something. And then, of course, if people can't lose their job, lose their home, house goes into foreclosure, they have to sell fast.
Yeah.
And then that gives the opportunity to the person who's got the cash.
Nice. Cash is king.
Yeah, cash is king.
Yeah. It seemed like there's a lot of people leaving LA right now. Do you think there's just a lot of people selling their houses and they're just tired of...
That's absolutely true, too. A lot of people are leaving California because of taxes and going to Vegas, Arizona, Florida, a lot of other places.
Yeah, give me that Vegas tax break.
Ooh. Yeah. Vegas is booming right now, and you can buy so much in Vegas. And it's, I mean, I think it's...
You can get like a sauna in your house.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need that. I need a steam room in my house.
For sure.
Nice little facial.
Yeah, add a couple steps to your routine.
Yeah, you know. Oh, my God. Okay, so next question. If you could sit down and have a conversation with one person, dead or alive, who would it be?
Wow, I think you asked this question.
Did I?
Well, I heard it, and I thought about it. If I could ask a question, oh, gosh.
Or just, like, hang out with one person for, like, a day.
Well, I love John Lennon.
Yeah.
It goes way back. My dad was a huge John Lennon fan and the Beatles, so that would just be... you know, for me, something because of my dad.
Yeah, like bucket list, for sure.
Yeah, but I would like to talk to Martin Luther King today.
Yeah, me too. What was he doing?
What?
Know how he feels.
Like, what do you think about what's going on?
Right.
Yeah. So what's up with them phone taps, MLK? Mm-hmm. You know, when he was doing something on his wife, I don't know what I'm saying.
Okay.
Shout out MLK.
I didn't hear about this one.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Oh, really? When they were like tapping his phone?
Oh.
And like basically they said
caught him cheating?
They caught him cheating.
Oh.
You guys didn't know about that?
On what?
On his phone. They were tapping.
They caught him cheating on his wife.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
It's,
That's another podcast.
Yeah.
It was a different time, guys. And there was no social media. And
MLK is the homie, but nobody gets the cheating pass.
No, I'm just saying he probably was like, oh, what are they going to do? Tap my phone? He thought he was just going to get away with it. You know, there wasn't like DMs and.
I'm sure they weren't like looking for that too, and they just found it. But you hear that clickety click click click. Like,
I mean, he's a pastor. You think he's just paranoid about people tapping his phone? You know?
Yeah, I don't know. You're right.
Pastors don't cheat.
Yeah, he's exactly. That's just a great example of nobody's perfect, you know.
Right, for sure.
And you can have great impact on the world and not do everything perfect.
Right.
Yeah, agreed. You know, I gotta play devil's advocate.
Hey, that's what I'm here for.
True. Okay, if you won the lottery, tell us the first 3 things you would do with the money.
The first 3 things I would do if I won the lottery would be to buy a house, buy my mom a house, buy my family a house.
Nice.
I'd buy everybody a house.
I love that.
House for you, house for you, house for
real.
you.
Our little vacation spot. Oh my God, it'd be so much
That
fun.
would take up my first 3. So then after
Yeah.
that, it would be investing, buying businesses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely would get on a jet and get away from everyone just so I could think really quickly, because I feel like as soon as your family found out, it would be over. You know?
Your instant thought is, I need to cut some people from my life.
I'm like, cut it. I need to cut it.
But the family members I fuck with, I'm going to put them on.
Oh, yeah, got you. You get a hair salon. You get a boutique.
We'll go to the movies a couple times. I'll pay for your tickets.
Yeah, for sure. I might fly you out.
Buy them nice dinners.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, favorite restaurant in Los Angeles, or you can do top 3 because I know you love to go out to eat.
Oh my God.
I know.
So Mastro's.
Yep.
Number
Beverly Hills
1.
or
Actually, I like Beverly Hills better.
okay,
Yeah.
then Malibu.
I've been to Malibu a few times, but Beverly Hills is my favorite. I mean, like, I haven't been out in a long time to pick like really favorites, but Hillstone Group is always one of my favorites.
That chicken sandwich talks to me, man.
All the time. And then
What does it
sushi.
say?
Tells me, girl, you know you love me, girl.
It's like, come on back now.
Come on back now, you're.
And of course, sushi.
Yeah,
I can
sushi
go
always.
anywhere.
Although we went to dinner recently, I won't say where. We did not have a good
Yeah.
sushi experience. It was not great.
I knocked it down to a 5 actually instead of a 6.
Yeah,
Yeah, I thought it was just a 5.
I left a review
Oh,
the next day,
good.
and I don't normally do that. I feel like because I'm just like never that pressed. But
I mean, you saw a skunk, so what are you going to do?
oh no, that was at a different restaurant.
I'm like, we did not see us.
No, that wasn't.
Like, food was great, but
No, food wasn't great.
skunks galore.
Food wasn't great. Service wasn't great. Yeah, you know,
It was just a 5.
yeah, it was a 5. So yeah,
But it was fun to see you guys.
it was. It was fun. It was definitely fun. If you had a boat, what would you name it?
Oh my God. My soul.
You silly.
I do want a boat though, by the way.
Me too.
Yeah.
What kind of boat do you want? Like a yacht, or you want like a little?
Well, I mean, God, yeah, I want a yacht.
Yeah.
But I have a friend that has a 55-foot sailboat.
Ooh.
And it's just stunning. And I just want to be on it all the time. But
I mean, if you'll give me a yacht, I'll take it.
right.
Yeah.
But I'll ride a motorboat too and be in Minnesota on a lake.
For real.
On a putt-putt.
Do you have to buy like? So say like you buy a boat. Like where do you put your boat? If
In the marina or in any of the marinas.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
you have to become a member of you don't have to become a member, I don't think, but you have to pay dues and you have to store your boat and it's like rent.
Okay.
And then you have to have it cleaned underneath. You have to have somebody go dive under and clean it every like couple, I'm not sure on the time frame, but it's a lot of work and a lot of money. Boats are very expensive.
Because you know what I was thinking about? It's like, you know how some people have bathrooms on their boats? Like,
Yeah.
where does that shit go? Like,
It goes into a tank and then they have to empty
the
it.
tank. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. It doesn't go into the water.
No.
Okay,
You
good.
guys
better
ever
not.
see Magic Johnson's boat? He's got a boat, and then there's a boat within a boat. So
No.
you take a big yacht, and then you pull up to a bigger yacht, and then it parks in the boat.
It's what?
Yeah.
Look at
When
she's
did you
looking it
see
up.
this? I'm about to look this
It's
up.
like $100 million yacht or something.
No.
I believe it. I
Yeah.
believe it.
Because he does these trips like once a year or something. He just brings, of course, the most powerful people.
Right.
And he had Earth, Wind, and Fire or something there.
Wow.
Wait, so
performing.
it's a boat that goes onto another boat?
He
It has a
has
garage.
like smaller yachts in the garage section of the boat.
Okay, Magic Johnson has booked a $945,000 a week yacht called the Aquila for his cruise around the Amalfi Coast. Oh my goodness, sir!
You got some pics? I'll put them up there.
Yeah. I'm going to pull it up. Yacht vacation.
But that just means he rented it. He's
Yeah.
He's saying he owns one.
I thought he did, but
Oh, maybe he just rented it.
that's why you got to fact check.
Yeah, let's see. Okay, so this yacht is beautiful. Okay, here it is.
So it's beautiful, but just bad investment.
Yeah.
We'll agree on that.
Yes.
Okay.
Only
I
a bad
agree.
investment if you can't afford it.
Right.
If you can afford it, it's a great.
Okay. Kate Charles Gallagher.
Is this it?
Shout out. Okay.
Nice.
That's big. That's big boy.
Yeah, we can fit.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, I'll take that.
I'll take that.
Yeah, that's a yacht.
Yeah.
Just a cakewalk.
It's the one that one of the ones he rents.
Just a cakewalk, guys. Oh, we spying.
Wow. What they doing? Oh my God.
Wow.
Oh my God. Can I have this? $945,000 to rent though.
Yeah, I don't know if this is the one that I saw, but
No?
maybe.
But yeah.
Oh, there we go. There's a little, yeah. So they'll be on the water like the whole week, and they'll just take the smaller boat.
Okay, sorry. This is it right here. We'll cut the last part. We'll cut the last one.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah, so you take that little boat, park it in the big boat.
Wow.
You know, and then you can just keep Wait
big for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
You could just keep the big boat out in the water the whole time. You don't even have to dock it.
Right.
You just sleep on the water. Find a nice spot.
Look, there's a little pool in the middle of it. Can you even deal?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. A little jacuzzi
Look at
on the
day
top.
Bed.
Oh, what's the day? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like just laying out on the top. Let's get forward.
See, we need friends like that.
Yes, we
I'll
do.
take that. I'll take that one. Just the starter.
I'll take the small. Yeah, I'll take the starter boat for sure.
That could be you.
That could be me.
The appetizer
that could be
boat.
us.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that
I
could be
saw
us,
you
but you
guys.
playing.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, maybe we should shut this off
Yeah.
before
I'm
you
like, I'm
go
so
crazy.
sad right now. Yeah, you're so right.
I don't want you to get depressed or anything, Court.
No, I know. Ridiculous. Okay. Yes. So, do you know what you would name it? Oh, Soul. My little cousin Sully. Sully. Okay. And then last question: if you could go on a date with any celebrity, where would it be, and what country would it be in?
A date?
Yeah, date.
Well, I would definitely want it to be a man, and
No, a celebrity though. Like
good.
if you could date, if you go on a date
I
with
have
a
to
celebrity,
pick the celebrity.
you gotta
too?
pick a celebrity. It's fine.
Oh my God, I'm not a big celebrity like
Whatever. You can pick
what do you call
somebody.
it? I would probably say. I mean, I wouldn't mind hanging out with Brad Pitt
Wouldn't we all?
in Europe or
Yes.
I don't know,
In like
anywhere.
Capri.
Yeah, Greece, Europe.
What about Denzel?
Yeah, Denzel's cool, but
Yeah.
I don't need to hang out with him.
Yeah, I get it.
He's
I
more
get it.
like my pops.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
I do feel that. Okay, good. Yay. Okay, so the meat of what we want to talk about is like financial literacy, because I just feel like you help me so much and I'm always asking you questions. And it's just like, I don't think that I ever really knew what to do with my money. And, you know, I guess you don't know when you're like growing up if you don't ask.
Right.
And I'm getting to the point where now it's like, okay, I need to know these things. So I guess I'll start with asking you, like, what is it that you do, and like, what is your purpose, and like, why do you do it?
Okay, so I kind of fell into banking after I moved to Los Angeles, and I got licensed, so I talk about with clients investments, and I'm like a relationship manager. So we talk about anything that you need when it comes to finance. So people need student loans, auto loans, credit cards, bank accounts, investments, retirement, all of it. So there's not like one specific thing that I work on. Clients come in and they have financial needs. They might be buying a commercial building or buying a property, wanting to refinance, anything they need. I'm not the expert at everything, but I do have partners that are. So I work a lot with other people that are experts in those specific areas.
Okay.
Where I think I'm really good is building relationships with people.
Yeah.
You know, people trust me, they like me, they talk to me. I get to know them, their family, and then I just help them.
Yeah.
And so, like, I think one of the things that's super important that I'd like to share with your viewers or listeners are how important banking and credit is to our, like, financial prosperity and how we can have better lives if we do better in those areas, because everybody always focuses on your health, your mental health, but they don't really focus on their financial health. They just make a paycheck and spend it and make it and spend it, you know? And it's like, there's a lot to learn there.
Yeah, agreed. And then you're super involved with, like, because I remember when like Black Lives Matter's happening, like, obviously your keys is black, but you know, it's very important to you about, like, you know,
Absolutely.
understanding the wealth gap and, like, you know, creating things for Black people and opportunities. So yeah.
Well, so we all know about the recent events that happened in our hometown of Minneapolis, and that's not the first, second, third. It's the, you know, too many to count, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's been happening so often that every time something like that happens, I think to myself, like, I'm not doing enough in this world, and what can I do to help?
Yeah.
You know, and I know everybody is probably asking themselves that. And where I thought that I could help was to recognize the the lack of financial literacy. And I don't want anyone to attack me for saying this, because I don't mean that it's only in the Black community, but because I've seen it very heavily, like in the Black community. And of course I've worked in very white communities.
Right.
And it's different.
Yeah.
It's different. They bring their kids in, they open accounts, they have, college savings accounts set up for them. They set them up for college and for the future. They pay for their school. There's a lot of things that I've seen that, and I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I just don't see it.
Yeah.
So I'm only basing it on my experience.
Right. That's all you can do for sure. Yeah, definitely. So can you take us through like a typical day for work for you? Like, what are the type of things that you do?
I basically see clients. I do a lot of emails. I do a lot of calls to clients, checking in on them. But when clients come in, it can range from anything from people wanting accounts, which isn't really my area that I focus on, but retirement planning, estate planning. Look, when people die, that's a big topic that we should talk about, because when people, when you have an account and you have money in it, when you die, and people always say, like, I don't want to talk about that. They get really funny about it. And I understand it's a hard topic to talk about, dying, but we're all going to die. And when you die, where do you want your assets to go? And if you don't have them titled properly, they go to probate. They go to basically the government, or the IRS takes it, or, goes through courts, and your beneficiaries, whoever you would want to have the money, don't get it. Or they don't get it all, or they don't get it fast enough.
Because it's not titled properly?
Correct.
And what does that mean exactly?
So, like, if you have a bank account, I bet you it's in your name.
Yes.
Courtney Granberry.
Yep.
Okay? If anything were to happen to you, now I do want to preface that by saying that if your estate is more than $150,000, that can include real estate, then your assets are subject to probate.
Okay.
So if it's under $150,000, I'm not saying that you don't have to worry, because if something were to happen to you, nobody can go in there and get your money.
Okay.
Everybody has to wait. Your family that are grieving now at the loss of you have to wait a certain amount of days. Then they have to go to the court. They have to get letters. It takes time. And oftentimes, like when it's, let's say, a father or a mother of a family and they have money, the wife or the husband needs that money to pay the bills, to take care of the family, and to not be able to get it. And all it takes is a simple adding a beneficiary.
Okay.
That's all it takes. Just go in and add anybody you want. Now, truly, you should trust that beneficiary, because they will get all your money.
Okay.
So let's just say you have $100,000 and it's in your own name, and you die. Then that $100,000 just sits there until people can come in and prove and, do all the things that I'm telling you that they have to do, versus someone just walking in with your death certificate and they're listed already on there.
Yes.
And then they can just take the money and go pay for your funeral and your bills and everything that they need to pay.
And is that what leaving a will means? No, that's separate.
That's separate.
Okay. Yeah. And what does that mean?
So a will is just a legal document that anybody can write up. And in the state of California, you can write a will.
Okay.
In other states, I believe you may have to have it done by an attorney or notarized or things like that. There's different laws in different states. But a will just says, I want my money to go, my $100,000, I want 20 to go to my mom, 20 to go to my dad. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And you can say what you want to happen. People say, I want all my money to go to XYZ charity.
Okay.
You can do that. If you don't have a will at all, then it just goes to whoever the courts consider your next of kin.
Okay.
And that might not be who you want to have all your hard-earned money, you know what I mean, hard-earned money all your life.
So are you essentially saying I could get a sheet of white paper and write out who I want my money to go to, and that stands up?
It does stand up, and it is contestable. So, for example, let's say you have a brother and a sister, and you pass away, and it says, I want all my money to go to my sister. Then your brother can take your sister to court and say, I contest this. I don't think my brother would have meant to do that.
Yeah.
And
even if I just signed it and they could prove that it was mine.
And they can also try to fight that they don't think that was your signature. And so it can get ugly.
Yeah.
Which is why a will isn't what we recommend.
Okay, it's a beneficiary.
No, a beneficiary is just someone that you list on your assets.
Okay.
That is the beneficiary of the assets. The will says what you want to happen to the assets.
Got it.
So let's say you have bank accounts all over, right? Mm-hmm. And you say, and on this bank account at XYZ Bank, it's me as the beneficiary. And on other bank, it's Matt, right?
Okay.
But then when we get the money, your will could say, when Matt gets this money, I want 10 to go to my mom, 10 to go to my dad. You know what I mean?
Got it.
So it tells what you would like to have happen to the money.
Okay.
And then from there's something called a trust. And a trust is what we talk about most with our clients, because a trust actually owns the assets, and then that dictates who it spells it all out. It's, like it sounds similar when I talk about a will, but a will is you still own the assets. You're telling what you want to happen to it. With a trust, the trust, Courtney Granberry Trust, owns your assets.
Okay.
And you're just the one that gets to be the trustee of
Got
those.
it.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you recommend anybody doing this at any age? Does it matter, or like?
Well, it matters most when you have assets.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
So, like somebody that doesn't really have anything, I mean, no offense, but what are they going to say? Like, you can have my money tree. Yeah. You can do that. Yeah. You really can, but
it looks nice.
Yeah, it's so cute.
You don't want people fighting over your money tree.
Yeah, exactly.
The one leaf goes to my sister. The other leaf goes to my brother.
My auntie brought this cute planning. You want to pull it over so you can see it? Look how cute it is.
Well, it's timely for what we're talking about, because it's a money tree, and so you got to take care of it. And if it grows, your money is supposed to grow with it.
Dang, that's a good sign.
Take good
Yes,
care of
Lord.
it.
I'm gonna take care of it.
Mine's been blowing up.
Your money tree is actually doing well.
Don't overwater. That's the biggest.
Okay. How often should I water that?
I mean, just like you touch the dirt, and if it's dry, then just do a little bit, like once a week. Okay. Not more than that.
Got it.
Yeah, wait till that dries out.
Yeah.
Oh Lord, I've definitely been known to kill a couple plants. Okay, and then does it cost to do that kind of stuff? Or like do you have to pay for it?
Well, so to make a trust, it does.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to. So another common mistake that I see people make is they will go have an attorney draw up a trust for them. And it does cost anywhere, I would say starting at around $2,500. You probably could find it cheaper. You probably could find it cheaper. But I mean, obviously it depends on how complex your trust is, how complex your family is, how complex you need all the, basics to go. Because some people will do things like, if I die, I want my kid to get the money at 30, 35, 40, or, they'll put all these like stipulations in there. Yeah. So that makes it more complicated. But if you just have a basic trust, it's really not that expensive.
Yeah, I'm sure it's just like lawyer fees,
Well, it's
the longer it takes.
$2,500 is about average for a basic trust. But what I see people do is, and trust me, I've seen attorneys do this. They'll get a trust, and then they won't go and title their assets into the name of the trust. So then that means that it's like irrelevant. Like they just have this stack of paper in their file or in their safe deposit box, and their assets are still wrongly titled, and it's gonna cause a estate issue when they die.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
Seems like a lot.
Yeah, it does seem like a lot. I'm like,
when you're young, these are the things when you're young, you're like, I'll worry about that in 10 years. I don't know.
But I'm glad we're telling people now, because I feel like, it's nice to get ahead of the game, especially with something like that, because I had no idea that's what you needed.
I got to get a will and testament, a trust, and title the assets. Damn.
Yeah. Well, like I said, when you have the assets is when it's important. But while you're growing them, just make sure that you title them properly, so that if something were to happen, that it just makes it easier for people.
It just seems like movies make it seem so much easier.
I know.
Of course.
Always.
Just go in and take it.
Right. For real. Okay, so I kind of want to start talking about like having a bank account, because, for our younger viewers, I feel like, they don't really know what to do. Like, you get out of high school, you have a savings account, and you have a banking account. What are some tips that you would give people, or things they should know? So
I did do a little bit of research and found that there are a lot of, I think the number was 120 million Americans don't have a bank account.
Wow.
That's crazy.
What that means is that when they get a paycheck, they take it to one of those paycheck cashing places that charge you a bunch.
Like Walmart or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they're walking around with a lot of cash, or, just, it's not always, they're paying for money orders to pay their bills, or, so it's really easy to have a bank account. I feel like a lot of times people either don't trust or they don't know about banking.
Okay.
And one thing I want to make really clear is that going in and opening a bank account does not affect your credit the way people think it does.
Okay.
Overdrafting your account doesn't affect your credit.
Okay.
What affects your credit is if you, let's say, open a bank account and then you overdraw it, let's say a few $100s, and you never come back. Okay. And you go negative 300 whatever dollars, and that bank charges it off. Okay. That affects your credit. Okay. But if you pay it back, even if the account was negative for however many days, it doesn't affect your credit.
At what point, though, if you don't pay it back, does it like close?
When they close the account and charge it off, and that's usually 2 months.
2 months, okay.
Yeah, and I can't speak for all banks. It's you have to check with your bank.
Yeah.
But you get hit with fees though, right?
Yeah.
Overdraft fees, and some banks charge, like if it goes overdrawn for multiple days, they'll charge you fees and stuff like that. I don't know, but that doesn't affect your credit. It just costs you money that you don't want to have to pay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the number you said 120 million.
That was one statistic that I read, and I
that
hate
seems
reading
so
statistics,
high.
but
it is crazy high.
Yeah.
Why do you think that's so high? Like, why do you think people are scared to open a bank account?
Well, I think it's what I said already about people not trusting, or also just not knowing. Like, I don't know why people would rather leave money under their mattress or in their closet, or, God forbid your house burns down, or you get robbed, or, someone just finds it and, steals it or whatever. But, I just think people I don't know. That's just my opinion, that they might not. And one of the things that people don't know is they think about bank failing, like a bank going bankrupt, right? So there's insurance against that. It's called FDIC, and it protects you against, you will get your money back up to $250,000.
Oh, wow.
So I have people I know that go around and put $250,000 in every bank, thinking that that's protecting them, when really they don't know that they don't have to do that. You can have more than $250,000 at a bank and be covered.
Okay.
But also, bank failure.
That's interesting. I didn't really know that, actually.
Really?
Yeah. Me either.
No, if I was ever getting close, I'd be like, let's figure something out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's based on, for example, if you have a joint account with somebody, then you both get $250.
Ooh.
Yeah. See, so now you got $500.
I like that. But what are the chances of the banks failing, though?
Well, it has happened. Okay. It has happened, and I mean there are stories I've heard of people back in, I don't even know what years, but where their bank failed and they had more than $250 and they didn't get their full money back. So there's especially our, I don't even know what generation is our parents, or whatever generation that is. They've experienced it. They're scared,
Yeah.
The Great Depression era kind of.
That generation.
Yeah.
That's not even our parents. It's
our
grandparents.
Yeah, that's our grandparents for sure. Great Depression. Okay, so I guess what I'm asking is, like, I feel like a lot of young kids have no idea, like, should they just get a bank account, or should they get a savings account, or like what kind of account should they be opening?
Well, so checking accounts are what is an easy way for you to put money in the bank and then pay bills.
Yep.
Now they're coming out with accounts where there's no checks, right? So now it's just debit cards and online. Okay. So you can pay your bills through online. You can do Zelle. You can do all these different, transfer things. But I think that you should have both a checking account and a savings account. And something that your listeners might not know, or people sometimes are confused about, is that savings accounts are limited to how many times you can take the money out every month or every cycle. And so for checking accounts, it's unlimited. You can do as much as you want. Put in as much, take out as much. But with savings accounts, you put it in, and if you take it out, 1. You take it out 2. You take it out 3. And this is not a bank thing. This is the federal regulation.
Doesn't that seem a little outdated?
Well, the reason they do that is because they're paying you interest. So,
but the tiniest amount of right now, it's small interest.
It's so bad right now. Bad. Yeah, it's really bad. But I mean, that's the logic behind it, is that we're paying you interest. We want you to keep the money there. We don't want you to just use it as a checking account. So as long as it's 6 times per month that you can pull out money from your savings account, and then it's you get dinged after that, or they'll stop you from being able to take it out. But there's always ways around it. I won't get into all the nitty gritty, but basically that's the 2 differences. So I always tell people, if you're gonna put your bulk of your money in your savings account, and then you just want to leave in your checking account the money you need for your day-to-day transactions and your bills and all of that. And then let's say you're getting low on your checking account and you're like, oh, I want to go to the grocery store and I'm going to spend $200. Don't just transfer $200. transfer like 5 or 1,000 and then you're covered, and you can always put it back.
Right.
But at least you're just pulling it, big once instead of a bunch of little times. Yeah.
Okay.
And then another thing I think is really important for everybody to know is that you should not be paying fees. You should not be paying fees at a bank.
Okay.
There are ways that you can avoid paying fees. You just don't know them.
Okay.
And so, for example, even like with overdrawing your account, like that's a big one. They're usually big fees for that,
Yeah.
And when people are overdrawing their account, it's probably because they're living paycheck to paycheck and they don't have a lot of money. So getting hit with these fees really hurts people.
Yeah.
And so, you do have the ability to go in and say something about that. And then there's ways that you can help to make sure that doesn't keep happening.
Oh, wow. I feel like I don't think that people know that because it's like, oh, I just have to pay it.
Well, if you keep doing it, you do.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, because we give you ways to make sure that doesn't happen.
Like when your savings will pull to cover it automatically?
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Or if you get a credit card.
Okay.
Or a line of credit.
Yeah.
But that's also a whole nother topic.
Yeah. I don't even want to dive into the credit cards. It's funny because like when I was growing up, like my parents were like, okay, well, don't get a credit card because like, I don't want you to overspend and like ruin your credit. But I think that if you handle it correctly, it can actually be really good for you.
Well, that's the issue is that it can, but you have to be really responsible.
Right.
And young people tend to not be responsible.
Yeah.
And so if I can leave your listeners with anything, my most important thing that I will say is that credit is one of the most important things that you have to protect like a baby. And if you ruin your credit, it's over for 7 years.
Okay.
It's 7 to 10 years.
And what do you mean by ruin your credit?
So one late payment.
Okay.
One late payment ruins your credit. It doesn't obviously, make it go catastrophically bad, but they don't erase it. You know what I mean? So it's a 30-day late. It's a red ding on your credit report. And unfortunately, in the world we live in today, everything is based on your social security number, which is linked to your FICO score, which is linked to how your credit rating, is judged by creditors.
Yeah.
So if you want to buy a car, you want to rent an apartment, you want to buy a house, you want to get a credit card, all of it is what is looked at.
Okay.
And so if somebody, I tell this to kids all the time, I say, if you're going to get a credit card, you need to know how to use it. And and the number one thing is put it on auto pay. Yeah. The minimum. Because if you just pay the minimum on time every month, you won't ruin your credit.
Got it.
But missing it one day, yeah,
screwed.
And it's not the same as if you pay your cable bill late or if you pay your cell phone bill late.
Okay.
Those don't affect your credit.
Got it.
Like how if you pay your credit card or your loan, student loan or any kind of car payment, things like that. Those are.
So credit cards are the ones that need to be paid on time.
And car payments.
And then I guess this is kind of a hard question to answer because it's like, I guess it's up to perspective, but kind of not. What would you say for somebody who's like in their, early to mid 20s? Like what is an average credit score for that age? Like what's a good score, I guess? You know what I mean?
I mean, basically anything like 720 is a good score. Anything over that is considered to be good. I mean, they say the range, and I'm not a credit expert, but they say the range is 300 to like 850, maybe I've even heard 900, but I've never seen it ever. Yeah. So I've seen like over 800, but I've really never seen higher than like 820. I don't even know if I've seen an 820, but pretty much like the way it starts is that when you're an 18-year-old kid fresh out of high school or whatever, you have never had any credit, you have 0 credit score. Okay. So you pretty much won't be able to get anything until you get that first credit card. And I'll give you an example. Your cousin, my daughter, I got her a credit card because I wanted to help her build her credit. And I applied at a bank and she got declined because she had no credit. But then we applied at Capital One and she got a $300 credit limit, which is perfect for a young person because, what did she do? Run out and go buy $300 worth of makeup or clothes or whatever. Okay, now what happens is the bill comes. She doesn't have $300 to pay it. She has, I don't know, $25, $50 or whatever dollars to pay it. Well, now you're paying interest on the money that you're not paying. And so now it's building and it's building. And now that $300 worth of merchandise you bought is $400. You know what I mean? And it's like you never get out of this hole unless you pay off as much as you can every month, which is why people say, spend within your means.
Right.
Only spend what you can afford. But normally people don't get a credit card if they have the cash. I mean, you know what I mean? So it's kind of a catch-22, but you do need to use it, pay it to build it.
Okay. If you can't buy it twice, don't buy it.
Yeah.
Jay-Z.
That's what Jay-Z said?
Yeah.
Okay, Jay-Z.
Better buy
so
it
then
twice.
what happens is after you start using that for a little while, all of a sudden the credit card company will send you a thing that says, you've been doing so well, we're going to bump it up to 500.
Sneaky asses.
And then what does the young people do? Oh,
yep, use more.
Go buy more things.
Yeah.
So yeah, that happened.
Damn. True story.
True story.
Damn.
Does it seem a little backwards that it's so hard to get a credit card? Like you start with zero, and I even remember, I have a U.S. bank, I have City National. When I first had the U.S. bank and had like no money in the account, they were charging me fees left and right, it seemed like. But then it's like once you get that certain threshold of cash, they're like, oh, hello, Mr. Ellifritz, 0 fees for you. Okay, cool. No worries. Anytime. Is it kind of backwards that they make it harder if you have less money?
It actually is something that has bothered me over the years of, it's just that the rich stay rich and the poor stay poor because rich people do not pay fees.
Yeah.
And yet I see people that are
I only remember paying fees at U.S. Bank when I was broke.
Yeah, same.
Which is totally backwards. I get
it.
I think there are a lot of changes happening, though. I mean, I have seen it, and I think it's changing, and I think that people, banks are listening.
Yeah.
So we just have to get people to just trust.
Yeah. Also, one bank I want to bring up. What's the black-owned bank?
One United.
One United.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I needed to get a bank out there soon. Yeah. Like I do.
I encourage everybody to open a bank there. I actually was looking it up. Their whole executive profile, the CEO, the CFO, everybody is all black. Yeah.
Hell yeah, they are. Mm-hmm. Damn. And then where is it?
Well, they're all over. I know there's one in Inglewood, but I don't know. Yeah, you just got to look it up on their website.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And then I guess I feel like a lot of people don't realize this. You don't have to have a lot of money to open a bank account.
No.
Like, you don't. Just so you know.
Yeah, no, it's like minimum to open it is usually anywhere from like $25 to $100 to open it. And then you usually get a debit card right away. You can start spending the money right away.
Yeah.
And then what's the most important thing right now for people to understand is we've totally went to a online life world right now.
Right.
Everything is online. You can do everything. Banking online. You can send money. You can wire money. You can pay your bills. You can transfer. You can write checks. I mean, not write checks, but do bill pay.
Checks.
You can deposit checks.
Yeah.
You can. I mean, it's just amazing. And you can travel. You can use your debit card anywhere in the world. I mean, it's just like so convenient.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so because, I'm sure you deal with a lot of people who are, wealthy and just, establish really good habits. Can you tell us some of the things that you've noticed with people who have a lot of wealth and like what those habits are?
Well, I think that, one of the most important things is saving money.
Yeah.
So that was something that I've also noticed, and I did a research on that, and a lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck. A lot of people don't save money, and so it's super important to take a portion of your income, no matter where it comes from. If you have multiple streams of income, every source should have a percentage of it going into your savings account.
Got it.
And even more importantly than that, I believe everybody should have a brokerage account and be buying stocks and buying into companies that you believe in.
Yeah.
And so that's something that we can talk about a little bit too, because it's super fun.
Yeah.
And it's really important. And like I bought my grandson stock, and it just makes me so excited for one day, even if I just buy a couple shares here and there, to build a little portfolio for him. And, it's a funny little thing he's been saying, like, I own Disney stock.
Oh, you taught him that?
Yeah.
Oh my God, he's so funny. I think I was hanging out with him the other day, and he goes, "You ghetto." I'm like, "What?"
Damn.
You call me ghetto. I'm like, who taught him?
That's because he has Disney stock. And
he's like, you don't got that Disney stock. You're ghetto. I'm like,
black is king.
Ghetto. Yeah, it's funny because me and Matt are like super into Robinhood.
Yeah,
I love Robinhood. I love it. It makes it so easy to like invest and like look at stocks and like, look at their like trends and stuff. Matt, you love stocks.
Yeah, I love stocks, but I think it's so interesting that I didn't really get into it until the last 2 years, maybe.
Yeah.
And just how easy it's been for me to make money off of money I already had, and just how it wasn't really taught in school or just taught growing up.
Right.
I even took advanced classes. I think I maybe had 3 to 4 weeks where we mentioned stocks and like, but other than that, there was no finance education.
I mean, truth be told, none of us were taught the things that we need to know about finance.
And it seems like one of the most important things.
Yeah,
we learned
literally.
algebra and calculus, and I don't even know how to do any of those E squares,
Y
times
equals
Wex,
MX
you know,
plus D
like,
shit.
none of it is relevant in my life today. And people
Yeah.
always say to me, "Oh, you must have been a great, math student," and I really wasn't.
Yeah, me either.
I mean, we had a class that I remember we did accounting and checkbook writing and things like that, and that was the most functional class that I took, that I was like, okay, I'm learning something about finance, but they don't teach it, and they really should. Practical, financial, and investing.
Yeah. Also, I feel like, I had this one class that I took, I don't remember what it was called, but like learning how to send an email and like learning how to write a business letter. Yeah. They do not teach that shit. And I'm like, you need to know that. I feel like that's really important. You know
How do you write an email?
Don't trip.
Is that what it says at the end?
Yeah.
XO Courtney, don't trip.
It starts with Sarut. But a lot of my emails are to my agents, so they're very lax. I'm not sending like business emails.
I am the email queen.
Yeah.
Everybody at my work makes me pre-read their emails.
Yeah.
And then
Guys, I haven't
them.
sent an email in years.
It does give me anxiety, I'm not going to lie.
You got to get an email sender for yourself.
Like
then you're really balling.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got
one. I got one right here. So funny.
Yeah. Yo, Auntie Lisa, you send my emails?
Send my email, Auntie Lisa. Okay, so me and Matt were talking about this earlier, and I guess I never knew about this. So I don't know if you do, you do. If you don't, you don't. Do you know about negative interest rates?
Yes.
Okay, we were talking about that, and like, do you think that's possible? Because maybe
Yeah.
explain what that is.
Well,
because
I actually don't know, as maybe Matt could explain it better. I do know that it exists, and I know that it's happening, I believe, in Europe right now.
Yeah, there's a
And-
couple countries in Europe, but
Yeah.
the only reason we kind of brought it up is because Trump has mentioned not being opposed to negative interest rates, which they're basically zero right now.
You want to explain what it is?
I just all I know about it is if it's negative interest rates, then I'm assuming anybody can get a loan.
No, you're gonna pay us to hold the money for you.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's
Instead
basically you don't want to have any money in your bank account.
Well, yeah, you would have, like I said, you'd be paying us to hold your money.
Right. So I think the
And-
idea is putting into the economy, putting it into stocks so that the economy is stimulated. And I think it's worked in certain European countries. So I think that's why he's saying he's not opposed to it, because he doesn't want the stock market to tank, I think is the idea.
I feel like that's a little abrasive, though. It's like telling, like, you're going to have to pay negative interest rates if you put your money in.
Well, right now,
That's hurtful.
If you put money in a savings account, you're basically getting 0% interest on that money anyway. So it's like
but
if you
negative
put it,
is a different story than zero.
right,
You know what I mean?
because they want you to put it somewhere.
I wish I knew more how to talk about this topic, because it is a very important topic, and I feel it's a shame that I don't know more about it. But
because
it's a real thing.
it's never happened in the
never
U.S.
happened in the US.
Okay, good.
So that's probably why you're like, okay,
Yeah.
I don't need to know about this.
Yeah.
It's never gonna happen.
Right.
But
It's a scary
anything can
time.
happen. 2020.
Right.
Yeah, 2021. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared, y'all. Okay, and then so this is one thing that I want to make sure we talk about, because I guess I never really knew about it. I would only hear my parents talk about it. And it's a 401k and a Roth IRA. Like, I guess I don't really know the difference.
Okay. So for one, a 401k is a retirement plan that's offered to you through your employer.
Okay.
So if you own your own business, you can create a 401k for yourself and your employees.
Okay.
But typically it's a plan for multiple employees, okay? So the way that it works is that a portion of your income you can select to have it go into your retirement, and then that money is subtracted from your taxable income. So let's just use round numbers, and if you make $100,000 a year and you allocate to your 401k 10% of that would be $10,000 a year that you would be putting into your 401k.
Okay.
And a lot of companies match it. So they match it at a certain percentage. So let's just use 5% as a match.
Okay.
So that would mean that if you said I'll do 5%, they'll match 5%.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Okay.
But if you do 10%, they'll still only match 5%. Do you get it?
Yes.
So, and I just heard from somebody that if you work at Google, I think they have a 50% match.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And don't quote me on that, but we were just talking about that. And
because they know they're going to buy Google stock. They know.
They want their employees to stay too. It's a benefit. It's like a part of your benefit package, right? To have a 401k.
I'll be a cafeteria
lady. Now, let me tell you this real quick. If you work at a company.
Sloppy Joe.
If you work at a company and you have a 401k and you leave that company, a lot of people don't know they can take their 401k with them, and they should. Because you don't know what's going to happen to that company. You're not there to oversee your 401k. Yeah, you can do it online and all that, but 401ks are limited to the investment selections. Okay, so let's say they go, okay, you can pick from these 15 different funds to put your 401k money into.
Okay.
Versus if you took that money and put it into your Robinhood or your brokerage account, you have the whole world of investments to invest it in. You could buy, high risk. You could be very conservative. So it's you have way more freedom when you manage your own retirement assets, but you can't take it with you if you're still working there.
So, but if you don't take it with you, then where does it go? It's still with the company, and you still can make. They're still matching it, or no?
No, because you're not contributing to it no more.
Right.
From their from their payroll. Right.
So it stays with the company until you want to pull it?
Yeah. So like I've had people that I've talked to, and they're like, yeah, I used to work at XYZ company, and my 401k is still there. And I'll say, well, how much is your 401k? Oh, I don't know, like 50,000 or something. So they have 50,000 of retirement funds sitting in their former employer's 401k.
Not making any money.
It's not. It is. It's invested in whatever it is that they picked for it to be invested in.
Earning that interest.
But
okay.
And it's always investments. It's not a bank account like where they get interest. It's a investment account, like a mutual fund or something like that. Okay, so if you leave the company, you also say, I would like to have HR roll my 401k into an IRA. And then you had mentioned a Roth IRA. So there's 3 different kinds of IRAs. Traditional, Roth, and then a SEP.
Okay.
So there's 3 different kinds of retirement plans that people that are employed, W-2 employees, can get.
Okay.
And when you get a traditional, it means that you put the money in, right?
Okay.
And then when you go to do your taxes, you can do you can get a tax credit for it. Okay. But if you do a Roth, it means that you've already paid the taxes on the money. So you won't have to pay the taxes on it when you retire and you pull the money out.
Got it.
But remember, with the traditional, you haven't paid the taxes yet. So when you retire, you have to pay the taxes on it.
And what's the taxes usually on something like that?
Well, so everybody's income bracket, tax bracket is different. Okay, so it's based on how much money you make. It's based on a lot of other things.
When you retire, how much money you make.
But when you retire, you're not working anymore.
Right, exactly.
So now your tax bracket has gone way down. So let's say you were in the highest tax bracket, 38% or whatever, and now you're not working and you're in the 15%. So now is when you would want to take your withdrawals from your IRA, because now you're only paying a little bit of taxes. But when you're working and you take the withdrawals from your IRA, you're going to pay the highest tax.
Right. So it's a long-term investment, basically.
And that's why it's super important that not only do you not touch your retirement money until retirement.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just going to be taxed the shit out of it.
Yeah. That's why it seems like a big decision when to retire. I feel like my dad has been, I might retire next year for like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Just keep putting it off.
Yeah.
Because he knows he can't work anymore, or it's going to be penalized,
Right.
It's
yeah.
And then, so today I was talking to my new CPA, and he was telling me to start a SEP. Can you tell me a little bit?
That's what I was telling you too.
Yeah, exactly. Will you tell me a little bit more about it?
Yeah. So a SEP it's called a simplified employee pension plan. And basically, it's just a retirement account for people who are self-employed.
Okay.
So now the difference between a self-employed person and somebody who's W-2 is that you have a limit. So I think the limit this year is $6,500 for under a certain age, and then if you're over a certain age, you get to do a catch-up.
Okay.
So it was $6,000. I could be off on that.
And what do you mean by limit? Like what's?
So that's how much, as a person who like works at Burger King, right?
Yep.
So they make, let's just say, $50,000 a year.
Okay.
They can take $6,000 or whatever the limit is, $6,500, and they can go to any bank or any brokerage firm, Robinhood, I think probably too, and you can say, I want to open a traditional or a Roth IRA, either one, right?
Okay.
And then they can just take $6,000 and put it in there. And then when they go to do their taxes, what did I say they make? 50?
Yeah, 50.
Then their 50 is now minus 6. So now they're only paying 44. income on 44,000. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. And so is there a certain percentage on what you make and how much, what's the amount that you can make?
So hold on. Yeah. So when I told you that there's limits on the traditional and the Roth, there isn't the same limit for self-employed people. For self-employed people, you have to have your CPA run the numbers and then they'll give it to you to the penny. You can put $23,475 in a SEP IRA. And then let's say you don't have enough cash to do that, you can do whatever amount under that. But that's just the limit of how much you can do.
Got it.
So it's really good for self-employed people because they can chunk away, put away more money into their retirement plan than a person who's W-2'd. And then a person who's W-2'd also has their 401k. And then there's also limits on that too. So there's income limits on those as well. And you'd have to talk to your...
Got it.
So just to clarify, 401k, you cannot pick the stocks, but an IRA, you can pick.
Well, yeah, 401k, you're limited to whatever the company's 401k plan offers. So usually it's like 15 different funds, and it'll be like Fidelity or Franklin Templeton or all these different like
S&P 500.
They'll have like index funds and things like that you can pick. Okay. And you can even say, I want 10% to go in that and 10% to go in that, 2% to go in that. You can pick how you want to allocate your 401k, but you are limited. You aren't able to but if you took that same money and put it in your brokerage account, you could buy Apple or Amazon or, Nike or whatever you want to buy.
Individual stocks.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, as you know, the market fluctuates and you can lose your retirement playing in the market. Right. If a company does not, doesn't do well, then, you can
then
lose.
You screw.
Right. It's a little bit, for me, I look at it and I'm like, gosh, it's a little bit gambling, but it's a different type of gambling. But, you're gambling on the success of these companies.
Right. I feel like that SEP, though, is really important for people who are, like, young and creative. Like, you know what I mean? Like, people who are, like, self-employed. I feel like no one knows that. Like, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And that it takes down, like, your taxes, like, what you're paying.
Big time.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm slipping.
And then also you mentioned that, and a lot of times people that are self-employed don't actually file their business. So do you know how many people that I've dealt with that say, I want to get this SBA loan or this PPP loan. And I'm like, well, where's your business account? I don't have one. I have my own business though. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't have a business account? How do you function your business? Well, it's just my business. And I'm like, okay, well, you have to file it with the Secretary of State. Yeah. You have to get an EIN number. You have to open a bank account. You have to run all your expenses through it, keep track of your income and your, loss, your expenses. And so you have to keep track of all that to have a business. You can't just say, oh, I'm a whatever.
So, like, who do you go to? I mean, I went to my lawyer for my LLC, but who do you go to start an S Corp or an LLC or C Corp?
You can do it yourself on things like LegalZoom.
Okay.
Yeah, LegalZoom is a big one that I've used. And but a lot of CPAs will do it. A lot of, there's a lot of small companies that will do it.
Okay.
Just look up like how to file a business entity, but you really can do it yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And then do you think there's benefits from like, opening up an LLC versus just like running a small business on Etsy and not having an LLC?
Well, there are benefits that I would have to refer to your next podcast guest, which should be a CPA of some sort, because, but I mean, because you can have a sole proprietor, which means that you use your own social.
Right.
And, it affects your credit if you one way or the other. Right. And then if you get an LLC, you have a tax ID number. And all that is it just means limited liability corporation. All that means is you're taking the liability off of yourself.
Okay.
So someone can't sue you if things go wrong in the business dealings or whatever. A lot of times people will put their homes in the name of an LLC. Okay. Because if they're renting it out and someone slips and falls, they don't want the liability to be on them personally. They want it to be on the entity.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And then a corporation is a whole other, type of a business organization. And usually it's for large companies or companies that are doing a lot of transacting, and also there's a lot of like deductions. So that's why wealthy people get wealthier, because they just form corporations for everything and then write off everything through their corporations.
Wow.
And then unfortunately people that are like struggling and have real mom and pop businesses are running and using their sole proprietor and getting taxed at the highest rate. And they're not taking advantage of the benefits of if they filed a corporation. I don't know why people would be scared of it. It's a little bit more expensive, but it's like, I don't know, $600.
Yeah. Worth it in the long run.
Yeah, absolutely. And then of course the having to pay the taxes or for the filing of the taxes every year.
Right.
That costs more money too, but hopefully your business is making money.
Yeah, for real. Okay, Matt, do you have any pressing questions?
Yeah, pressing. I got such good questions for you. Yeah. No, I just feel like there's a trend right now with young people that they're not doing IRAs. They're trying to do more like stock picking, whether it's Robinhood or whatever it is. So I'm wondering if that's because of just education, like people not learning about it, or just people are overconfident. Like they're like, oh, I'm going to 10, 15%. I'm going to get like 30, 40% of returns. Like, why would I do an IRA?
Well, so you should do both. I mean, young people don't want to think about retiring, but believe it or not, time flies.
Yeah.
And like there's a statistic or like a, mathematical figure that they do that it's like if you put $10,000 in today and then 30 years from now, what that amount would be versus if you're 40 and now you're going to retire, let's say in 20 years versus, do you know what I mean? It's a time factor. The longer you can have that money keep multiplying, the faster it's going to grow. And so it's like putting money away for retirement, I think people should start doing as soon as they start making money.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's important for parents to teach their kids to do that.
Yeah.
And then as far as what you said about investing, Matt, I think that, everybody thinks they know the next big, stock pick, or they think that, oh, look at this company or that company. And nobody ever, even the best analysts, the financiers that are on CNN or Money or whatever, all these shows, they say stuff and they don't know what they're talking about. Like no one can predict what's going to happen. They say 1 year, oh, tech stocks are going to be, and then, something happens in the tech world and it's like a bust. And then they'll say, oh, commodities or something, and then something will happen. And like I put a lot of money in foreign because I thought that it was going to be better than America. No offense. But then look at what happened. Now we got this pandemic and all the countries are hurting and, it's not a good time to be in foreign stocks, or I shouldn't say that because it's so up and down. It's really tough. But the point is that if anybody could predict, they'd be a billionaire. They'd be, maybe you should talk to Warren Buffett. He would be the one to.
Yeah.
Warren, where you at?
He'd be eating McDonald's, so I don't know, man.
He is Egg McMuffin every morning.
And like, God. I guess like somebody said something about his wife where like if the stocks went up, then he got like, Egg McMuffin.
Yeah, if it was a good day in the market, then he got it with cheese.
Oh, that ain't even cheese at McDonald's.
It's not real?
No, ain't no real cheese, cuz.
I was curious because it seems everyone's talking about gold, and gold is at all-time highs, and everyone's worried about the value of the dollar because the Federal Reserve is just printing money. Stimulus for you. I mean, I have so many friends that are like, oh, I'm making more money now than when I was working. So what do you think about that? Because it's like you start learning about the basics of finance and then you go deeper and deeper and you're like, oh, I shouldn't even have cash. Like I should put it into gold bars, I guess, or just buy gold companies.
Honestly, I wish I had the best answer for that too, but I can tell you that gold is something that is, priceless. I mean, people really should hold on to their gold. It's really valuable right now. But who has the capacity to carry around bricks of gold? I mean,
have like a safe.
Where do you store it? How do you make sure it stays safe? Right. It's a high risk to get robbed or killed.
Yeah.
And then as far as what you're saying about printing money, I totally agree. I am so concerned about the status of our country's economic. I mean, we are in big trouble, and it's, I can't, what I see happening just shocks me because it's like there is no money. It's just paper.
We're just value. We're just printing.
And it's like, people are just exchanging nothing for goods and services. But it's like, and everybody. I mean, how many hundreds of millions of businesses have closed, and families are, very poor right now, struggling. I mean, it's just a scary time right now, and I don't know how. I'm scared, to be honest. I just don't know how we're gonna get out of this. And I just think that they keep saying, oh well, we'll just keep giving people money, but I have heard of people that don't go back to work because they are making more money and they're doing what they want to do. Going to the beach, doing whatever.
Take care of their mental health.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Because when you see some of these countries that have high inflation and you're like, oh, that will never happen to America. But it seems like it affects people that don't have the education or they're impoverished the most. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you know about it and you're like, oh, I'm just going to just put my money into gold or put my money into these stocks that will raise in value more than the US dollar, obviously. But then if you don't, then all of a sudden you try to go buy a gallon of milk and it's $10.
Yeah.
It's like that wouldn't affect someone who invested their money. But if you don't even have enough money to invest, all of a sudden I can't even buy milk anymore.
Well, and I think it's important to point out that people aren't investing in anything that is going to be profitable for them, like buying any goods that you consume or, even clothes and shoes. I mean, you wear them out, they're not a good investment. Cars are not good investments. Yeah. I know we were talking about boats earlier, not good investments. You have to invest in things that are going to hold their value and actually earn something or gain in value and bring you income of some sort. That's why it's real estate, it's gold, it's, obviously there's other precious metals, jewelry, art. I mean, things that are going to hold their value. But I think too many Americans spend their money on, looking good, eating out, clothes, shoes,
Guilty. She guilty.
So think about that next time you plan on spending money on something. Just say to yourself, okay, I'm going to buy this for myself, but I'm also going to put that same amount into some sort of a good investment.
Yeah, that's a good trick. I should start doing that. Like if I buy a cute purse, I'm like, okay, I bought this purse, but can I afford to put that type of money into a savings account?
No, what you say is, but what will this purse be? Compounded interest over 30 years, DRIP, dividend reinvestment program, calculating, and then you'll be shocked.
I just need
you won't even buy that purse.
Goodwill.
I'm
like,
gonna need
okay.
that drip. I'm gonna need that drippy drop.
Not that drip. You need that dividend reinvestment program.
Yeah, I'm gonna get that too. But sometimes you need a little something for yourself, for your mental health.
Yeah, that's
self-love. You know what I'm saying?
Shop sales.
Yeah, you're fine. Okay, so what is one investment you believe that people who are trying to build wealth should invest in?
I mean, of course, I think the go-to is always going to be real estate, for sure. Mm-hmm. But if you can't buy real estate, which, by the way, you can buy real estate in other states, in other counties. I mean, out of Los Angeles, out of California. But, I mean, like, honestly, we're from Minnesota. Yeah. I look on the Minnesota real estate listings all the time. And you can buy a house for $100,000.
Yeah.
So, I mean, people think they can't buy a house, and oftentimes they can't buy a house because they can't qualify for a mortgage.
Right.
And so they have to get their credit right. They have you have to have a steady source of income.
Right.
And then, you have to save a little bit of money. And then that will, in turn, when you invest your money, instead of paying rent, where you're paying someone else's mortgage, making someone else rich, building equity for someone else, you could be doing that for yourself. Yeah. And so even if you can't do it because let's say you live in California, but you can buy a house in Minnesota, have somebody, family or friend or someone live there and pay the mortgage, or even you pay it, right? Yeah. Because you're building your own equity. When you go to sell that house, now you have, at that time it should be, if it was 100, it'll be 150, what I mean? And that's equity that you're building for yourself. If you can't afford to buy a house, whether it's because of credit, you have to work on it for a few years, you have to save some money for a few years, I do think you should look at getting a brokerage account.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, it's a little bit of work researching and, checking out the different aspects of investing as far as dividends and what type of companies you want to invest in. But I find a lot of times people will say to me like, oh, I don't want to invest in, certain specific markets. Mm-hmm. And then you look at their portfolio and they are.
Yeah.
So, tobacco, firearm, things that you don't believe in. Some people don't believe in those things. Socially conscious investing is important too.
Yeah. One thing I feel like people don't realize, especially young people, is so like, for example, you buy a house in Minnesota for $100,000. Now, people who don't know this think they have to pay the full $100,000 up front. They're like, oh, I don't have $100,000, so I can't buy it. Well, you just explain what it is and like kind of what you have to do
Well, there's different loan programs that they are offered through banks and financial institutions and the government. Mm-hmm. And I'm not a mortgage consultant, but I can tell you that there are loans where you can pay as little as 3% down. There are 0% down loans.
Right.
So 100% financing. But then there are 3% loans. I believe those are government loans. And then usually the typical average is like 10 to 20% down.
Okay.
So you have a $100,000 house. It might need work in Minnesota. Yeah. But you put $10,000 down. You get a $90,000 mortgage. Your monthly payment is probably, I don't know, $1,200 a month.
Okay.
And, who's paying more than $1,200 in rent?
Right. Especially here.
Yeah. So now you own a property.
Okay.
Now, don't forget about property taxes, and there's other things to, upkeep.
Right.
Utilities. You got to remember that there's costs to owning properties, but you start building your portfolio, and you buy one house, you rent it out, you use that rental income, you buy another house, you start to build your portfolio. And I have to tell you, most of the wealthy people that I know are real estate wealthy. Okay. Because their parents or they invested in real estate. I have people, and this, in California that bought their house for $300,000 in Santa Monica in 1965, and now it's $3 to $5 million.
Wow!
So imagine that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
Give me that beach property.
Ooh, back to the beach.
Yeah.
Malibu.
I think I just want to live there for a year.
Yeah.
So I was in Malibu for a year, and I it was a little slow.
By the beach. Doesn't have to be Malibu.
Yeah, for sure, by the beach. I like Manhattan Beach.
And you guys, don't let her be modest. She lives on Venice Beach on the boardwalk, y'all.
I wish I owned my property, but yes,
but
I do live on the beach.
But it's still cute, though.
Yeah, I love it.
I heard you learned how to longboard.
I actually just hit someone up to
Did
say, no, he's making that up. But I just hit somebody up and said, if you know anybody selling a female, like amateur, I don't need a professional board or anything, but I just want to get out there and hit the waves a little bit.
Yeah. Dang. We were actually talking about surfing.
We had our homie Steph.
Yeah. We were talking about surfing. I'm like, I'm scared. And then I also told the story about Biggie and Sierra.
Getting hit in the head in Hawaii?
No, with the riptide.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm,
yeah, that was scary.
Yeah. I feel like everyone should learn how to surf, though, if you live in California.
Yeah, she made it seem easy.
Yeah.
3 easy sessions.
Oh, my God.
You could be surfing.
It's really not hard to surf. It's really just that you have to have the stamina to stay out there and wait for the waves and things like that. Yeah. And then for me, I have like this fear of what's underneath me.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just really
manta rays and shit.
What? Manta rays?
No,
that's the least of your worries.
What?
World.
That's the least of my worries is a manta ray?
Yeah, manta ray is not going to do anything to you.
Don't they have those? Oh, that's a stingray.
Yeah. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Stingray.
They're just ugly.
I'm like,
they're not out there on the surface of the waves stinging people.
You never know.
I've been around stingrays.
I almost stepped on one in the Philippines, so I think I'm traumatized.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And it was like super big. They like go into the sand. You can't even see them.
Yeah. Hey, wait, this is a sand stingray?
Yeah. What else is there?
Water ones?
I mean, he was in the water. Running around.
Okay.
He was just underneath the sand.
But he like popped out. I was like, this is some alien
I mean,
shit?
he was just burying himself,
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Boss stingray. Sorry. Okay. And then, just to kind of wrap it up, I always ask, the person on one piece of advice about wealth and money management you wish you knew in your early 20s.
I've hit on the things that I feel like are really important. Mm-hmm. And the biggest one is to save money.
Yes.
Save money. And they say that you should have 6 months of whatever it costs you to live. So again, round numbers. Let's say it costs you $5,000 a month. Okay. And that includes your rent, car payment, insurance, cell phone, your food, your everything, going out, gas, Ubers, whatever it is you need. Let's say that that's $5,000. And by the way, everybody should have a budget.
Yeah.
It's super easy to just go online and pull up like budget template and then just start filling in the numbers. And everyone gets frustrated and they're like, I don't know how much I spend or whatever. Well, your bank account, if you have one, will tell you like how much you've spent on food and how much you've spent on gas and things like that. But, use as best as you can to get a number in there. And then let's say it's $5,000 a month. Then you should have $30,000 liquid saved.
Got it.
And that means not invested in the market, in a savings account, sitting there, even not making any interest. But that's super important because they call it, like rainy day, sleep well at night. You know that if something happens like a pandemic, that you have 6 months that you'll be fine.
Yeah. important.
Yeah, I want to shout out Mint.
Yes, Mint.
Yeah,
they made it super easy for me. Before that, I'd never really had a budget, and I was
There's
overwhelmed by it.
Yeah, there's a lot of good sites like that. You just got to look into it.
Because they'll categorize it for you.
Yeah, it does.
The bank will label the transaction, and then it will know, oh, this was gasoline because you went to Chevron.
Right. And sometimes they'll come up and it'll be like miscellaneous, and then you're like, oh, that was this, and you can put it into your own.
Right.
Yeah.
But you got to hit on my shirt real quick.
Oh, yes. Yeah. When you walked in, I'm like, please, can I have that shirt, please?
So I wore this on purpose because, number one, she's my favorite female vocalist of all time.
Whitney Houston.
Love Whitney Houston. But I don't know if a lot of people know that when she died, she had an old will. And her entire, they valued her estate at the time of her death, of course, like $20 million. But I've heard rumors that it could be anywhere from 20 to 150 million. Uh-huh. And then also posthumous, which means like after she died, she made more money because of royalties and everything like that. But her estate went to probate. And it was, and that's why I wore this, because I wanted to give you guys a look at how you think that like common everyday people don't know, but it's like her story is so tragic to me because she's like this, grew up poor in Jersey, made it big, didn't have the right management, her family all rode her coattail, took her money, but she paid for everything. She had addiction issues and poor financial management. Like nobody really supported her. And so when she died, Bobby Christina was 19 years old. She was her next of kin to get her entire estate. Yeah. But what a lot of people don't know also is that Bobby Brown was still in her will, even though they were divorced and he was remarried. So imagine that. Like, wow. You divorce your husband, he goes and gets married to someone else, you die, and him and his family may or may not get the money. I don't know the details of how it all, because it might even still be in court right now. Mm-hmm. But so now think about that. Bobby Christina's 19 years old. She has her mom's entire estate on her, and she doesn't know how to handle her finances. Now imagine all the people coming after her for her money, right? Yeah. And then a few years later, she dies. Wow. So then who does it go to? Again, it goes, then the family, they say that it went to her mom, dad, and brother. But I mean, is that who she wanted to have it? I mean, did Bobby get any of it? I mean, how did it all really play out? And
she probably didn't even think about it,
She clearly didn't. And that's what's really sad to say is that with her success and her life and how much money she amassed, and for her to die and for that to be the fact. Prince is another example of a poor estate. You heard about that?
No.
People were coming out of the woodwork saying they're his cousin, they're his family. He did not have his estate in order as well. So if people like them, Prince and Whitney Houston, do not have their estate plans in order, imagine how many common day people don't.
Right.
So I think it's super important that everybody talk to somebody, ask questions.
Damn, I did not know that about Whitney. Holy shit. And he went to all probate? God.
So yeah, when it goes to probate, it's public record. So that's how everybody knows.
Yeah. Well, damn, that's definitely something that we need to remember. So, get your shit together.
Right.
Get it in order.
Yes. Well, we want to thank you so much for being on our podcast. We love you so much. I'm sure I'll see you soon. Yeah. And thank you guys for watching. I'm not racist. My friend's black. Hey.
Thank you.
Stop posting them goddamn motherfucking black squares. Shit don't mean a goddamn thing does. But what you can do is like, subscribe, and turn the notification bell on to our podcast. Tune in.